What's up, Comic Book Nation? BD here with your top 5 stories from the past 24 hours. You know the drill. Today we've got some great Stranger Things news, an exclusive interview with Lenny James of The Walking Dead, and much more, all in Comic Book Now. Not later, not yesterday, now. 11 will be returning for the second season of Stranger Things. For those of you who have not yet watched the series, we are going to avoid Season 1 spoilers here, but to clarify for those of you who continue to make the mistake of not watching this amazing show on Netflix, the first season ended with a question mark of how or when we will ever see Eleven again. Yes, there's a little girl named Eleven. It's strange. Or things. But she'll be back. No release date yet on Season 2, but I can tell you the team behind the series began writing prior to getting picked up for a second season. They started writing Season 2 ahead of knowing it was coming. So we can hope that that is a good sign for it coming sooner rather than later. The Walking Dead saw a massive audience as Ezekiel took the stage on Sunday night on the heels of the second most watched live episode of the entire series. Episode 2 of Season 7, though, hauled in 12.5 million viewers, with 7.8 of them in the key demo of adults age 18 to 49. All in all, that means a 6.2 rating. The premiere last week earned an 8.7 rating with 17 million total viewers. It is a massive drop week to week, but as much was expected after that brutal cliffhanger was finally revealed after a summer of asking, who did Negan kill? Over the weekend, I had the chance to talk with Morgan Jones actor Lenny James himself about the episode at Walker Stalker Con in Atlanta. Check it out.
It was brutal, but it was also brilliant. It was heartbreaking. It was somewhere we had to go in order to stay true to our source material. We had to get through it. It was a fantastic introduction for Jeffrey's character Negan, and I think also it was a reminder to all of us about the realities of the world that our story is told in. And every now and then we have to shake the bag.
Seriously, you can't think of a time a character has been introduced in a show or movie and made that kind of impact. And they say it every year that this is a new show, the dynamic has changed, but this year feels like it's a whole new show. And 7 years in, that's so impressive. What do you think are the biggest differences from Season 7 as all 6 years prior?
Oh, I think Season 7 is going to be a marker. And the season premiere kind of set that in stand, really set it in stone. I think this show's going to be seen to a greater or lesser extent in terms of before Season 7 Episode 1 and after Season 7 Episode 1.
I think so. I think you're right. And speaking of that, tonight's episode is the Kingdom introduction. You meet Shiva the tiger. You meet King Ezekiel. Kari does an amazing job. Yeah. This was Kari's first day on set, and you got to work with him. What was it like to work with Kari for the first time? And this is a character that is, for this world and this universe you guys have established, seems maybe even a little bizarre.
Yeah, this one was one where everybody was talking about the introduction of Negan, and quite rightly so. For me, obviously, because of where we were working, it was always about the introduction of King Ezekiel. And he is a character that in the hands of a lesser actor could have gone really, really wrong. But Kari gets it absolutely right. He lands it at the right place, he gets it at the right pace, and he sets it at exactly the right tone. We understand why the people he rules over want him to be the king. And we understand why he's playing this particular game for them. And he fits in with all our iconic figures, whether it be Negan, whether it be Rick, whether it be Deanna, whether it be all of the leaders. He's another one added to those.
Well, I can't wait. I think he might be my new favorite character.
I think he might
behind Morgan.
Yeah.
Behind Morgan, of course.
I have to say that because he stood next to me and I have weapons.
We do have more from that interview up on ComicBook.com. If you want to watch the entire interview uncut, head over there. We've got Kari Payton, who played Ezekiel. We've got Xander Berkeley, who plays Gregory. We've got a ton of Walking Dead interviews up on ComicBook.com/The Walking Dead right now. So go check them out. But moving on, the Flash movie. Yes, a little DC Comics movies news. The Flash movie has lost its director. It's not good news. I didn't say it would be. Rick Famuyiwa has parted ways with the production over, quote, creative differences, making him the second person to hop out of that movie's director's chair. It's kind of a blessing because we may not have to say his name all press tour long. But now that we've got to learned how to pronounce it, it kind of stinks because he did dope. That movie was really good. And it's interesting because it looks like WB may be going for a little course correction after Batman vs. Superman's poor reception to make audiences, have a little bit more fun watching their films. Ezra Miller is still on board, so that's a good thing. I can tell you he looks fantastic in Justice League. I know you saw that trailer, but on set, him and Ray Fisher were having a lot of fun. It's going to be interesting to see who they fill in for the Flash movie. Tim Miller, anybody? He's available. Goldberg made his return to wrestling a couple of weeks ago, and last night he hopped back into the ring for a bit of action ahead of his Survivor Series match with Brock Lesnar. For the first time in over 10 years, he unleashed a jackhammer and a spear on Rusev and Paul Heyman. I'm going to go ahead and say it wasn't the most athletic-looking moment of Goldberg's career, but after such a long break, 10 years, I'm going to cut him some slack and really hope he beats Lesnar. The last time he used either of those finishing moves was on Brock Lesnar back in 2004's WrestleMania 20. That's 12 years ago, guys. So we're going to turn it over to questions now for a couple minutes here before we hang up the live stream. What's up, Lenny? Lenny, that interview was recorded over the weekend. We rolled it out here live as wanted to share it with you guys, but you can watch the whole interview on Comicbook.com. We actually tease a little bit more of what's to come in Season 7, a little bit more of Morgan's struggles with killing. If you watched the episode this weekend, you saw that he pulled out the gun. He looked a little trigger happy, but he didn't pull the trigger. He was just struggling with himself. So we talked about that, and it's nice to get inside the head of a character, one of the few characters who's still around from Season 1. We only have Glenn. No, we don't have Glenn. Carol, Carl, Rick, Daryl, and Morgan. That's it. Those are the only Atlanta characters remaining. Flash lost its director. Yes, Kevin Smith for Flash director. He has 2 episodes under his belt and a Supergirl. It's a really interesting theory, but I'm going to have to disagree with you, Nicholas Philippek. I think Kevin Smith is an awesome director, but the Flash TV show has a very different vibe than the Flash movie is going to. Unless they're trying to course correct because people love the Flash TV show. There is the possibility they're doing that. Obviously, whatever Rick Famuyiwa signed on for was different than whatever WB is trying to make now based on the reception of Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad. Stranger Things, if you missed it, Ashay, 11 will be back. Did you guys see Chris Hardwick's costume yesterday? He dressed up as 11. It was great. Game of Thrones news, Blake Blackburn. The whole Season 7 plot leaked online. I didn't read it. I refuse. I know a lot of people have, and they have mixed reviews about it. But if you want it, that's on ComicBook.com too. Have I heard anything about the Whisperers? When do I believe they will make their entrance? That's a Walking Dead question from Emmanuel Gracia. I have heard they're coming to the show if the show lasts that long, but I have no reason to believe they're going to be on the show this season. Probably not next season. Negan is a cash cow, let's be honest, and they're going to milk that villain for all he's worth, and he is worth more than one season. Everything Jeffrey Dean Morgan does, everywhere he shows up, people lose their minds. So we're going to see a lot of the Negan storyline. We're going to see a lot of the All Out War storyline, and it's going to take more than one season to see that wrap up. And then we have to deal with the aftermath of All Out War before we can get to the Whisperers. Will they be introduced or teased? Maybe, but they won't be the focal point. There's no way those two stories overlap. Let's do one more question. What do we got? Who's Negan going to kill next? My guess, any Deadpool 2 news? Yeah, I lost his director. But who is Negan going to kill next? I'm going to go ahead and say Spencer. If you read the comics, you know that Negan showed up and Spencer tried to betray Rick, and Negan thought it was cowardly. He thought he had no guts. So he slices his stomach open and says, "Oh, I was wrong. You had guts the whole time." It's one of my favorite kills in the whole series. It's kind of funny. Shouldn't say that. That's terrible. That's all we got time for today, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of Comic Book Now today and every day, Comic Book Nation. I am Brandon Davis, BD on the tweets. We are at Comic Book on Twitter, at Comic Book Now on Instagram. Make sure you're following us everywhere so you don't miss anything. See you guys later.